to London, and I think it's okay, but I'm not 100% sure. Right, okay, we're now live on Instagram, on Facebook, Google, and X. Let me just move that a bit. Close some more stuff. Okay. Good morning, everybody. It is January the 20th, and this is AI with Kyle. I'm going to be talking through the latest AI news and updates, as well as taking live questions from the audience who are joining us today from TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and somewhere else, LinkedIn, I don't know, all over the place. We are simultaneously live casting to multiple locations at the same time. So hello, wherever you're watching this right now. Also, these recordings will be tidied up, edited, and put onto YouTube later, so you can watch them at a later date, and summarized into a daily email newsletter, which comes out every single morning at around 8 a.m. UK time, which just keeps you up to date with what is happening in the world of artificial intelligence. First up, apologies for not being able to do the live yesterday. I don't know what happened. I was just feeling very ill. I have a very low normal resting heart rate of about 50, super low, and yesterday for the whole day it was sitting at 90 or 100, and every time I got up it would shoot up, so something was not right. But I'm feeling fine today, so I'm back with the lives, and hopefully it's nothing serious. Right, we are going to be talking primarily today about OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, adding advertising revenue into their mix. We knew that this was coming. There were always signs. They hired Simo last year, who was put on to the task of putting together the advertising platform, and that is now launching. So we're going to go through the details, what this means for you, and also what this means for the future of artificial intelligence as a whole, because this is a wide-ranging change. This is not just ChatGPT. It's going to affect the entire landscape. I've talked about this stuff before, basically saying everyone is waiting for somebody to blink first, for somebody to be the first one to pull the trigger on adverts, because nobody wants to be first, and it is ChatGPT. And it kind of always had to be ChatGPT because they need to make some money. They need to make some money fast, especially if they are going for an IPO. We'll talk about the economics of it all soon, but this is not surprising news. So if you see people feigning outrage over on Twitter and Reddit about ads being put in, they knew this was coming. Anyone who was paying attention knew this was coming. It's a question now of how sensitively will it be done, and how wide-ranging. How is it going to affect the majority of users? So let's have a look. In the coming weeks, we plan to start testing ads in ChatGPT free and Go tiers. Now, if you're not sure what Go is, that's not that surprising, because it has until recently only been in certain countries. Go is between the free and the paid plan, and it costs around, I want to say, about $8 a month, but there are parity pricing options. So it's the one that is used in India, I think Indonesia, the Philippines, but they have now released it in America as well, and it gives people the ability to access ChatGPT, to use all of the tools, to have a slightly larger usage than if they were on the free plan, but they are paying something. I've always thought this is a way for OpenAI to be able to plump their numbers and show that they have more paying users, rather than necessarily to drive revenue. And it looks like this is the case because they are also adding adverts into the Go plans as well. So you will not be free of adverts, even if you're paying a little bit. So we're sharing our principles early on how we'll approach ads guided by putting user trust and transparency first as we work to make AI accessible to everyone. The fact that this is their second paragraph tells me that they know that what they're doing is treading a very fine line. They need to be careful here, and they know that, and that's why they are saying upfront, yeah, we get it. You might not want ads, but we're going to make sure that it's the best possible experience for you, and it's not going to be too egregious. It's tricky because it's hard to have your cake and eat it, but that's what they want to do. They want to tell us that this is actually quite good for us, but yes, we do need to make money from adverts. So what matters most? Responses in ChatGPT will not be influenced by ads. What a load of rubbish. The whole point about putting ads in is for influence. That's what adverts are for. They are for exposure. They are for pointing people towards purchasing. They are specifically for influencing people. Yes, it might not change the actual text of the answer, but by placing an ad in the same area, it being visible is specifically there to influence you. Okay, so responses in ChatGPT will not be influenced by ads. I think they're being a bit cheeky there. Ads will always be separate and clearly labeled. Okay, your conversations are private from advertisers. Okay, that is a very important point because people will worry about that. However, the OpenAI will be able to build up profiles of who we are based on what we are asking, and therefore serve up adverts. So even if the advertisers can't see our specific chats, which I would bloody well hope not, the advertisers will be given access to the fact that we are, for example, somebody who has an exercise bike and might be looking for a new saddle, or somebody who goes to a certain gym and might be amenable to an upgrade offer, or whatever it is. That data will be made available to them in the aggregate, but not necessarily the chats themselves. Pro, Plus, Business and Enterprise tiers will not have ads. That kind of goes without saying, because there'd be a massive revolt here. It does not necessarily mean that Plus and Pro won't get adverts later. So right now, they will not. And I think that's fair. If you are paying $20 a month or more, then that removes you from the advertising pool. However, for an advertiser, the most valuable potential customers to advertise to are, funnily enough, people with money, people who are not on the free plans of ChatGPT, but instead people who are paying $20 or $200 a month for ChatGPT. They are, funnily, the people that the advertisers will actually want to get to. So this does kind of stunt OpenAI's reach and the ability for targeting here, because someone like Google, none of us pay for Google. We don't pay to use Google search. So the deal there is that Google gets to serve up ads to any of us. And that could be the CEO of a company, the purchasing manager of a massive enterprise. They will be served up Google adverts. That is an option that has been cut off from ChatGPT because they are charging a subscription, a $20 a month subscription. And if they added adverts into that paid subscription, they'd see a lot of cancellations. So they'll have to balance this out. Okay, so these are the principles. Answer independence, so it won't influence what ChatGPT actually tells you. Conversation privacy, choice and control, and long-term value. Fine. And they're saying at the top that it is aligned with their mission, which is to ensure AGI benefits all of humanity. Our pursuit of advertising is always in support of that mission and making AI more accessible. So, as I said at the top here, they're having to tread a very fine line here because they obviously need adverts in place so they can generate revenue, so they can pay back their investors who have given them an awful lot of money, and so that they can justify the valuations that we are now talking about. The IPO, I think the latest I saw was 750 or $800 billion for valuation, which would be one of the largest IPOs in history ever, and that's potentially happening this year or next year. To justify that valuation, they need to have revenues coming in. And we always knew that it was going to be advertising. When we look at other companies, so someone like Google, we think of Meta, we think of these companies as tech companies. They're not. They're advertising companies. That's how they make money. They are advertising companies. So Google, for example, makes about 60 to 70% of their money through advertising, search advertising, YouTube advertising, Google Ad Network, etc. Only about 10-20% is from other sources of income like cloud, but they are primarily a advertising company. And if you look at Meta, 99% of Meta's revenues come from advertising. They are, again, an advertising company. That's what these companies are. They're not tech companies first and foremost. They are ad platforms. And OpenAI has a user base of, we think, about 900 million right now. So it probably hit 1 billion shortly. And it's very hard to ignore the temptation of running ads in order to access that revenue from those 1 billion people who are now using their service. So we knew this was happening. It's a question of how sensitive it's going to be. I'm going to jump over to some questions, see if there are any. Not seeing any. Okay. So what I wanted to point out is they're talking about, it's going to be very they've given examples of what the advert might look like, and they're saying, oh, it's sponsored. It's going to be very clearly labeled. You're definitely going to know it is an advert because we're not trying to trick you. This is something that advertising companies like Google have had to always be very careful with, because if you hide the fact that a listing or information is sponsored, then you lose trust. And if you lose trust, then people will stop using your service, your user base collapses, and then therefore you cannot sell adverts and you cannot generate revenue, because you've killed the golden goose, basically. This is what happened to Yahoo. So those of you a little bit older might remember Yahoo was a big search engine. Yahoo violated the user's trust by allowing sponsored listings, by allowing people to buy top results on Yahoo without it being marked as sponsored. They did that, they got in trouble, people said, I'm not using Yahoo anymore, and moved over to Google. So Google have always been very, very careful with this because they had to be. So I've actually pulled this up, which is fascinating. This is Google adverts over the last couple of decades and what they look like. Initially here, you can see the very first version doesn't look like an advert. It looks like they got in trouble for that very quickly, and they had to add sponsored link. They changed the color as well. So these are the different colors over the different years. Had sponsored links, etc. If we scroll down though, what kind of happens is it gets more and more visible into like 2013, I would say. And we've got this bright yellow button which says add, just so you know it's paid for. But can you see it starts to get bigger as well? So this is quite subtle, but initially it was just a line, the link, and maybe one line of text. As we move on through the years, the advert is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's taking up more visual real estate on the screen. This is, well, it's to make more people click, basically, because when you look at a Google search, the larger and the more kind of decorative this is, the more it's going to draw attention. And remember, a lot of people will not necessarily recognize that this is an ad. And that's why they've had this, like, this is a bright yellow declaration of it being an ad, bright yellow here. Then it kind of goes green. Can you see it's a green one here, which is a bit less visible. And then they actually take it from green to white with a green outline. And then this is what it is closer to now. It is black text saying ad. So there's a very interesting pattern here where it started off not looking like an ad. They realized quite early on that, oh no, we actually have to tell people it's an ad, otherwise we'll get Yahoo'd. It got more and more kind of visually distinct. And then at a certain point, they decided, no, actually, 2016, 2017, we're gonna make them less visible as adverts. So right now, if you go on to Google and you look up an advert, it's quite well hidden. So this is a balance between how many people we can get to click on it and how annoyed are our users going to get when they realize it's an advert. This is the tension, the fundamental tension in all of online advertising, where you want more people clicking because then you can sell the adverts for more money and generate more cash from the advertisers, but you cannot destroy your product, and your product is the user base, the amount of people that you have and the attention that you have to sell to your advertisers. You cannot ruin that trust. So OpenAI right now are saying, oh, it's going to be very visible. It's not going to have any effect on your sponsored on your ChatGPT responses. You'll know it's an advert. We're only going to have it on the free plan. We're only going to have it on the Go plan. We're only testing it out. It's only going to be in these countries. There's a lot of provisos right now. There's a lot of, oh, we're only doing this, only doing that. Remember that this is their first foray into advertising. This will not stay static. So all of these promises are being made now will probably change over the year, in the same way that Google adverts over the years have shifted what they look like, allowed different targeting options, allowed more data to be revealed to the advertisers, etc., etc. So just because we're being told one thing now does not mean that this is going to be a static situation, especially when they need to make more money. There is a lawsuit, a big lawsuit from Elon Musk suing OpenAI, plus there's an IPO coming up. They need cash. They need to make money to justify their existence. And when the purse strings start to tighten, if you have a product that's working, if you have advertising and it's generating cash and you need more cash, you're going to make your advertising more effective for your customer, who are the advertiser. The customer is not the user. The customer is the advertiser. So we need to take all of this with a very healthy pinch of salt. I'm going to check for some questions. Everyone's very quiet today. That is fine. Hey, Yamisi. How are you? So yeah, the main, let's have a look together at the actual announcement. So this was a few days ago. It is our approach to advertising and expanding access to ChatGPT. This is fascinating. So they are putting it forward as we are introducing advertising so that we can basically help more people get access to AI. So if our company does well, we're able to kind of give more people free access to ChatGPT. We're able to power more servers. We're able to push forward towards AGI. But we need to do this advertising as a way to get there, which I think is quite an honest way to do it. But it's also a very clever, a bit sneaky framing to say that, oh, we actually need to put advertising in because it's going to be better for humanity. It's going to be better for the world. Yeah, take that as you wish. So AI is reaching a point where everyone can have a personal super assistant that helps them learn and do almost anything. Who gets access to that level of intelligence will shape whether AI expands opportunity or reinforces the same divides. I agree 100%. That's why I've created things like the AI readiness guide, because I want to make sure that as many people as possible have access to this technology. We've been working to make powerful AI accessible to everyone through our free product and low cost subscription tier, that is GPT Go. Which has launched in 171 countries since August. Today we're bringing Go to the US and everywhere ChatGPT is available. Okay, so Go has now been released broadly. Let's see how much it is. So it is $8 a month, but that pricing will be localized. So that's available, or has been available, in India, Indonesia and the Philippines for quite some time, and it was a very cost-effective tier to bring in more paid users. So they are releasing Go more broadly. So you get expanded access to messaging, image creation, file uploads, and memory for $8 a month. So it is a step up from the free tier, but you are going to pay something. In the coming weeks, we're also planning to start testing ads in the US for the free and the Go tiers, so more people can benefit from our tools with fewer usage limits and without having to pay. So they're saying this is the deal. We're going to give you access to artificial intelligence for free, or for a low cost of $8 a month. That's the deal. You're going to get access. We are going to be able to provide that access, but it's going to require that we run adverts because we have servers to pay and we need to keep this running, and we can't keep rolling it out to 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion people unless we have something to soften the cost. So I think that's fair, personally. They are a business. They were a non-profit, but they still need to make money to keep the servers running. That is just a reality of the situation. People trust ChatGPT for many important and personal tasks, so as we introduce ads, it's crucial we preserve what makes ChatGPT valuable in the first place. That means you need to trust that ChatGPT's responses are driven by what's objectively useful, never by advertising. You need to know that your data and conversations are protected and never sold to advertisers. And we need to keep a bar high and give you control of your experience so you see truly relevant, high-quality ads and can turn off personalization if you want. So this, again, is the fine line, the balance between needing to maintain a user base and grow your user base, which you cannot do if you bend too much towards the advertisers. They have to balance now the advertisers, who are their customer, and the users, who are ultimately the product that they sell to the advertisers. So then it goes on, talks about the 4 values that we talked about before. So mission alignment, this is helping them get to AGI because it allows them to support constant improvement. That's fine. Answer independence, it will not change ChatGPT's response. It would just add a well-labeled advert underneath or above or wherever they decide to. We'll see where that is. Conversation privacy, we keep your conversations with ChatGPT private from advertisers and we never sell your data to advertisers. I think that is tricky language here because they are selling your data to advertisers. It's just not going to be personalized, but they will allow advertisers to advertise based on what you are searching. So if you're searching for the best whiskey brands and it places an advert at the bottom, that is personalized to you based on your response. They're not selling your data directly to the advertisers, but they are giving the advertisers access to you based on your data. Subtle, but I think important. Choice and control. You control how your data is used. You can turn off personalization and you can clear the data used for ads at any time. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets removed a year from now. We'll always offer a way for you to not see ads in ChatGPT, including a paid tier that's ads free. So that's nice of them. It's your choice. If you don't want to see ads, that's cool, but it will be $20 a month. Again, I understand why they're doing it. It's just very funny to see them have to word these press releases and word these announcements in such a way that we feel that it is good for us, that we're getting adverts, which is a little bit sneaky. And long-term value, we do not optimize for time spent in ChatGPT. We prioritize user trust and user experience over revenue. So this is a criticism that is often leveled against social media networks, where companies like TikTok, companies like Instagram want you to spend more time on the platform. So they will often hook you with, very high engagement content so that you mindlessly scroll, because by doing that, they are able to serve up more adverts on their platform. And then they generate more money. So ChatGPT or OpenAI is saying we don't optimize for that. We don't care how long you spend on ChatGPT. We just want it to be valuable for you. I'd be surprised if they're not tracking that. They might not be optimizing it for it, but I'm sure they're tracking it. I'm a little wary of that one. We're not launching ads yet. Again, this is a softening technique. You say, oh, this is what we're going to do. You allow everybody to kind of get it out of their system, and then you go forward with a launch. It means that there's also won't be screenshotable evidence of egregious advertising, for example, or badly aligned advertising. So you stagger it a little bit. Smart. But we do plan to start testing in the coming weeks for logged in adults. That's interesting. In the US, and free on the Go tier. So they're saying it's for adults only. This is again part of their protection of children, etc. They don't currently know who the adults are. So there was talk about in January, so now, introducing ID verification to verify your age. That has not been introduced, but they're saying that we're only going to show adverts to adults. Presumably that's going to be based on profiling. So based on what people are searching for, they will know whether that person is an adult or a child. To start, we plan to test ads at the bottom of answers in ChatGPT. Boop. When there's a relevant sponsored product or service based on your current conversations, ads will be clearly labeled and separated from the organic answer. You'll also be able to learn more about why you're seeing that ad, or dismiss any ads and tell us why. So again, coming back to what I just talked about, what the adverts look like now will not be static. It will change. And this is a chart showing what Google ads on the top of search look like. They have changed over the years. They became larger, more visible, more highlighted, and more recently they have that large visibility, and they're less clearly marked as adverts. So you can see early on we had bright yellow, then that goes to green, then it goes to green outline, and then it goes to black on white, and very, very hard to tell that is an advert, and a lot of people still fall for it. And I've given us some ideas of what the ads will look like. Smartly, they're at the bottom, so they're very close to your thumb when you're on the telephone. It's close to where you interact with ChatGPT, down at the bottom, so it's very easy to tap from there because it's near to the chat interface. That's where I would have put it too. The best ads are useful, entertaining, and help people discover new products and services. Sure. But right now it looks like they are just a little image and a link. So I don't know how that's useful or entertaining, but we will see. I wonder if that means, I can't imagine this, but imagine if they added video ads. No, they wouldn't do that. Oh God, I hope I'm wrong. Because this, what we're looking at here, that is neither useful or entertaining. That is basically just saying, hey, I see you're looking at hot sauce. Do you want to check out this one? I would say that is relatively close for purchase intent. Actually, let's talk about purchase intent in a moment. Where rather than being a higher up the funnel advert where you might try to entertain, you might try to educate, and then later you move people onto a sale. This right now is just a static image and a link to go and buy, basically, which is neither useful nor entertaining. That is a transactional advert. ads can be transformative for small businesses and emerging brands trying to compete. Now, this I do agree with. If you run a business, experiment with these ads ASAP. As soon as it becomes available for us to get access to the ad platform, experiment. The reason I'm saying this is when the ad platforms come out, when they're first released, this happened with Google, this happened with Meta, this happened on Instagram, when they released ads there, it happened on TikTok. Whenever there is a new ad platform and a new way to get access to potential customers, it's always basically the easiest money you'll ever make. The advertising platforms will not be charging very much because they want to build up momentum. They want to get lots of people on their platform, and there won't be that much competition because people are still working out. So if you move fast as a small business or a brand or whoever you are, and spend some money on ChatGPT advertising, I bet it's going to be a very, very high return, at least for the first year or two. Any new platform always has this bump, and then a few years down the line people will be like, oh, it's not like it used to be. It used to be fantastic. So because this is a new platform, get on it, move on it fast. This will be very, very exciting if you are a business owner. Okay, so I think this is all to be expected. What I did want to talk about, let me see if I can find it. Oh, I've lost it. No, here it is. So if you have never run online ads, if you've never done search engine optimization, if you've never really thought about content marketing, it's the context of adverts in ChatGPT is a little harder to get. I think what's really exciting about ChatGPT advertising, if you are a business, if you are a company, is how close you are to commercial or transactional intent. When we make a piece of content, when we create an advert, when we put something out online, generally we're thinking about what level of engagement our potential customers at. So we have early on, we have things like informational, which are blog articles, they are social media posts, they are newsletters, for example, any piece of content where it's focused primarily on information. So if I use my own website, for example, I have a bunch of free courses on here, and these are information. So people can come on here and they can kind of learn information, but there's no particular transactional intent right there. So then we have navigational. This is going to a specific website. So let's say you're reading a blog article about the best vibe coding tools that I've written. That would be an informational piece. Me talking about Claude Code, me talking about Lovable, etc. Navigational would be when the user goes to a specific website. So they go onto Google and they search for Lovable, for example, in order to go and check out a specific website. So we've gone from the general category of vibe coding to a specific tool, a specific company, Lovable or Claude Code or whoever it is. That's navigational intent. Commercial intent is when you are searching or you're consuming content with the idea of making a purchase. You've decided, all right, I'm interested in vibe coding. I've decided I want to use a particular tool. I've gone on, the websites, navigational websites like Claude Code. I've gone on Lovable. I've gone on Replit. I've gone on Bolt. I've had a look at these all. Now I'm comparing different options. So it is, I am going to purchase. The question now is, which of these am I going to purchase? That is a commercial intent search query or commercial intent social media post. You might look for a social media post talking about which AI tool, which vibe coding tool should you invest in. That is a commercial intent. And then the final is transactional. This is when somebody literally goes onto Google and they type something like buy Lovable subscription, or buy Lovable subscription, or subscribe now to Lovable, whatever. They're going straight to the purchase page of whatever the tool or whatever the service is that they're trying to purchase. So that is the final one, that is transactional. If we look at the type of ads they have here in ChatGPT, or the potential ads, this one here would be almost transactional, maybe commercial, maybe transaction. It's, you are going through some hot sources with ChatGPT, talking about what kind of hot sauce you can buy, and at the bottom it is saying, hey, Harvest Groceries can deliver Ember Co. hot sauce to you for $6 within 25 to 35 minutes. That's pretty much transactional. That's saying, oh, we know you need hot sauce. You are trying to work out the hot sauce. Do you want to buy this hot sauce now? So you'd click on that, complete your purchase, and the hot sauce would be delivered to you. Very much transactional, maybe commercial if it gave you a couple of different options here. This one here, this is somebody trying to learn about traveling in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I think. And at the bottom, because they are thinking about taking a trip to New Mexico, this Desert Cottages advert appears. So this one would be probably, I'd say it's probably commercial. It could be informational if it was serving up an ad saying, hey, we have a free guide to Santa Fe travel. Come to this website and we'll give you the 10 must-see places in Santa Fe. That might be an informational, but this again is fairly commercial. What ChatGPT has, which is really powerful, is it has access to basically our deepest, darkest secrets. People will talk to ChatGPT about their medical problems. They will go through the difficulties that they're having in their life. They will talk to it about very, very personally relevant topics in a way that we might not necessarily do on Google, because lots of people use ChatGPT as a journal, as a way to offload thoughts, as a way to have discussions about what's going on in their life, which means that ChatGPT has a much richer data set about who we are and what we want than Google, where you're mainly going to Google if you have a problem that you want to solve and you need either this kind of information, navigation, commercial, or transactional intent. The ChatGPT has a much richer tapestry of who we are and what we want, and therefore they'll probably be able to, we'll see once it launches, they'll be able to go straight to commercial and transactional based on what they know that we already need. That is why they're in an incredibly powerful position to sell a lot of ads and make a lot of money with this. This is a good question. Thoughts on the future of Google search? So Google search is in a really interesting position. I think search advertising as it is now is probably going to be demolished. It will not exist 10 years from now. I think what we're seeing is we're seeing a paradigm shift in how we as humans access information. So prior to the internet, we might go to the library and look up an encyclopedia. We'd call an information helpline. We'd talk to people. There would be ways to find information, but it was not the internet. As soon as the internet came along, search became the primary method through which we accessed information. If we needed to find something out, then it was at our fingertips via Google search. And now, because we've been using Google for the last 20 years or so, we don't think of this as anything special. It's just how you access information. We're seeing a similar shift, moving from search of information as indexed online, that's what we've been using for 20 years, to generation via large language models, being able to pull up information via an LLM. And already ChatGPT has about 900 million users, probably going to hit 1 billion very shortly. So the adoption rate is much faster than Google, much faster than any technology we've ever had before. So I think what's going to happen is humans will shift from searching for indexed information, information that already exists on the internet. They'll shift towards just asking questions and getting that information generated and delivered to them using generative AI. So I think search advertising is done for. So Google are in a position where they make a huge amount of money. I think it was $350 billion last year, or was it 250 billion? It's hundreds of billions. Most of that, 70 to 80%, is from advertising, and most of that is from search advertising. So running banner ads at the top of Google, basically. That is going to die, and they are going to have to sacrifice their own cash cow and pivot in order to survive. So Google's in a lot of trouble, but at the same time, they're also in a really, really good position to take the AI race. I was not saying this last year, but after the release of Gemini 3, and the fact that Google just started to ship some really good stuff, I've changed my tune. And I think that Google are in a very good position to take take the whole market. Also, Elon Musk is currently suing OpenAI, so those two are going to be going head to head. The winner of that lawsuit, Google. Google also own the own vertical, so they are not reliant on NVIDIA for GPUs. They instead use their own TPUs, tensor processing units. They have their own cloud infrastructure. They have oodles of data, so from search history, from our emails, they own all the data. This is also why something like Nano Banana Pro is so good, because they have been indexing images and labeling images for the last couple of decades with Google Image. They just have a huge amount of data, whereas the other companies need to scrape Google in order to access that data, followed by having distribution, massive distribution via Android, via Chrome, the browser. They are just in a very good position to mop up. They do need to replace their search advertising revenue though, so they'll be watching what OpenAI are doing very closely. Very, very closely, because they will want to model their advertising plan based on what works for ChatGPT and what doesn't work as well. So they're in a great position right now because they are also not cash hungry. OpenAI need to continue to make money. They need to either raise money from investors by selling them the dream that this is, we're going to hit AGI and then all of your investments will return 1,000-fold, or they need to raise money using things like advertising. Google have a war chest. They have cash. So they can wait. They can allow companies like OpenAI to release adverts to get all the flack that comes from that. And then later down the line, they will release their own version when it's already a known quantity. So I think at the same time, Google is in the most trouble they've ever been, because we're shifting from search to generative AI, and 70% of their revenue comes from search, so they have a huge ship to turn. That's the difficulty. But at the same time, if anyone's going to do it, it's probably going to be Google, because they own the whole vertical, they have all of the data, and they have a lot of cash. They also have Gemini, and they have people like Demis Hassabis and DeepMind, so they have the minds to do this as well. So it's going to be a rough ride, but I think they can probably pull it off. It'd be exciting to see what happens over the next few years. So. Yes, this is the question, Greg. Is winning the AI race financially benefits enough to offset the loss of search advertising? This is the huge question. They have to kill their cash cow, a cash cow that is making hundreds of billions of dollars. They know that that's going to not be around in the next few years, so they need to actively kill their own cash cow by using things like Google AI overviews appearing at the top of Google in order to pivot away from search advertising, not knowing whether generative AI ads will be able to replace that revenue. That's the huge gamble here. I think they don't have much of a choice though. It's either allow search advertising to die or actively kill it yourself using Gemini, using Google AI overviews, so at least you are in control of the narrative, and hope to God that you can work out how to monetize that down the line, which is why they'll be looking at OpenAI and being like, let's see if they can pull this off. But that is the question, Greg, like whether or not they'll be able to do it, because it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money they need to replace. It is hundreds of billions, and right now none of the AI companies are making anywhere near that, and they have massive data center costs as well. I did want to look at this analysis by Signal of revenue. So he does a very kind of back of the napkin sketch of how much they could make here. So let's talk about ads, because inside of ChatGPT it will be insane. As I just said, you get a level of personalization inside of ChatGPT, which I don't think you get anywhere else, because we're giving it all of our deepest, darkest secrets. So here we go, 2025, last year, Meta made around $58 per user in 2025 from ads. That's a lot of money. $58. So imagine OpenAI hits 1 billion free users by 2026. They will, 100% they will. They're already at 900 million. So this is a little bit out of date. So they'll be at 1 billion in a month or two, I'm sure. They're still growing. So let's say they have 1 billion users. If they monetize at just 9% of Meta's ARPU, so 9% of this $58, so average revenue per user, that's $5 billion in incremental revenue. If they manage about 20%, then they'll have $10 billion in revenue. Full parity Oh, and if they get exactly the same $58 per user in this year, then they'll be able to generate 60 billion per year from adverts alone. Now, that's a lot, but let's have a look at the Google revenues again. So Google, this was in one quarter, so the 3 months from January to March 2024, so this is a bit out of date, Google generated 50 billion from advertising alone. So you can see there's still a discrepancy here in the amounts needed, because this is 60 billion in 1 year, whereas Google generated 40 billion in 1 quarter just from search ads, just one element of their things. So that's I mean, we're way off there. So they can make money. The question is whether they'll be able to make enough money to justify the costs of artificial intelligence, to justify the sky-high valuations from the IPOs. A lot of investors are going to be trying to work out these numbers to see whether this makes any sense at all. Because the question is, are these adverts potentially harming their user base, but only dribbling in a few billion? I know it's a huge amount of money, but if they need hundreds of billions and they're only able to generate, 20 billion, 30 billion, maybe 50 billion a year, is that going to be enough to support them in the long run? No, they need other revenue sources as well. So Signal saying, can AI companies match or exceed social media average revenue per user? Because this is what it hinges on here. Likely, AI sits closer to intent, yes, than feeds ever did. So the intent of purchasing, the intent of a commercial transaction, as we looked at here, informational, navigational, commercial, and transactional. AI sits much further down here because it knows exactly what we want, because we talk to it on a daily basis. So you could potentially get more than this $58 per user that Meta manages to get, which would unlock them being able to make even more revenue per user. Maybe. There's a lot of provisionals here. It will take time, but if AI becomes the default interface for thinking, searching, buying, and choosing, social media average revenue per user may end up looking like a floor, not a ceiling. Given that they have many Facebook veterans, OpenAI have been bringing in people from Facebook, including, where is she? Fiji Simo. She was brought over and she's now CEO of applications for OpenAI, previously from Meta. I've lost it. So they have the potential to build one of the greatest ad businesses of all time, especially because they know your secrets and your fears. They know everything about us. And if you have that is leverage when you are advertising. I know it's cynical, I know it's gross, but that's how this works. OpenAI is essentially building Facebook 2.0, and all of the old Facebook peeps are doing it. I'm not sure about that part, but I think it's very important that we sit down and do this kind of analysis, working out, okay, you have 1 billion users, how much revenue can be generated per user? What is a decent figure that we can put in there? Is it this 58? Is it something more? Is it 3 times this, 4 times this, or is it half? We need to work out what that figure is, so we know whether or not this will be sustainable for OpenAI in the future. And this is the question that Google will also be having. If they want to replace their search advertising, they need to work out, well, how much money can we get from advertising revenue from AI results? Because nobody knows. Nobody knows right now. This is all very speculative. So yeah, Greg is 100% right. Does winning the AI race allow you to offset advertising revenue? I think the answer here is you need to still rely on advertising revenue. It's just advertising revenue within artificial intelligence. It's just a different type. Okay, that's probably enough of me chatting about adverts, but I think it's very, very important. I'm going to pull up this because I thought it was a great article. I'm not going to go through it in full detail, but I am going to put it in the newsletter. So let me tell you a story. The other day, I needed to copy a long URL and with an API key into my TV, and I didn't want to type it out on my TV remote because that is an absolute nightmare. So there exist apps that you can download on your telephone which connect to your Google TV, because most TVs are Android nowadays, which allows you to copy paste stuff over. But I went on the App Store to find a very basic remote control application that connects to my Android TV, and they all have very basic free versions. But then if you want to do something like copy paste text or use the keyboard on your telephone, they're like, aha, okay, cool, that's $3 a month, and they charge you for it. And there are 10, 20 plus of these apps, these kind of predatory apps, which know that you're just trying to copy one thing over onto your TV, and they're like, okay, we're going to make some money here. And they have thousands and thousands and thousands of reviews, so they're making money from this. I got annoyed by this. I was like, I'm not paying you $3 so I can copy one URL onto my TV. Like, get fucked, basically. So I built one. I just built an application in Claude Code. It's a stupid way to do it, but I got so annoyed. I built an application in Claude Code which can talk to my TV via a test flight app on my telephone, and allows me to control the TV because I refuse to pay them $3. I'm going to go ahead and go through the process of releasing that app for free, or maybe making it $1. $1, so you're not paying $3 a month for a mobile what's it called, TV controller app, because I think that is absolutely ridiculous. There's a huge opportunity right now to disrupt the app markets. If you go on the App Store is cluttered with predatory apps that try to charge a huge amount of money for very limited functionality, and they have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of users, and they've got good stars. We can fix that. We can build better versions of the same applications in a day or so, get them published onto the App Store, and either give them away for free because we don't like the predatory practices that are going on, or we can charge a reasonable amount of money, or we can set up a donation, or, I mean, that's totally up to us. But we can go in there and we can just take the app market to pieces using tools like Claude Code. So Greg Eisenberg, funnily enough, put out an article which is very similar to my experience. I did mine out of spite. I built this application so that I didn't have to pay somebody $3 a month for something I think should be free. So I built mine out of spite. Greg Eisenberg saying, no, actually, there's a huge business model here. So he said, here's the exact playbook someone will use to make $10 million in 2026, rebuilding existing mobile apps. I'm going to put this in the newsletter tomorrow so you can get the full thing. Find apps people already pay for but hate using. Beautiful. So he uses a tool called Sensor Tower to find applications that are making maybe $50,000, $100,000 per month in stable categories, things like productivity tools, utilities, niche professional apps, tools that aren't going to be constantly updated, basically. So you don't want to have to be fiddling around with it. You want to build it once, ideally, and for it to be stable. And then find tools that are making good money, but they have a sub 4-star rating, but with strong retention. That is a signal that users need it badly enough to keep paying despite hating it. I pay special attention to revenue per download rather than total revenue. This shows me whether users stick around and pay month after month. Again, you're looking for something that has crap reviews, but people keep paying for it because what else are they going to do? They need this application. And you probably have a few on your telephone that are like that you're like, yeah, this is rubbish, but I kind of have to use it because it's the only one. And it's frustrating every time I use it, and I wish somebody would make a better version. That's what we're going to do. Most people miss this, but the real opportunity is often in the boring categories where small but loyal user bases quietly pay monthly for tools that just kind of work. And then he plugs his own site here, ideabrowser.com, which is very good. Have a look at it. 2, look for the obvious missing features. Search for single dev apps doing 100,000 plus per month with ancient UIs. God, I've got a few of these. My God. Let me see if I can find one. You've probably got apps like this that are just like ancient looking. They don't really work. They're buggy. They were made years and years and years ago, but people still use them because nobody else has created anything else. Find tools where 50% plus revenue comes from one basic feature. Target apps still charging for features that should be free, like the remote control application that I rebuilt myself, and look for apps with steady revenue but no updates in 6 months. So people are continuing to use it, but it doesn't require updates all the time. The best opportunities are utilities people use daily but hate using. I also like to find apps and just localize them for certain geographies. So I will put this all in to the newsletter because it's a big article, but the basic idea is you find these piece of crap apps on the App Store and you rebuild them. You go to Claude Code, and like I literally gave Claude Code the piece of crap remote control app that I was using, and I said rebuild all of this, but make it free, because I'm building it for myself and I want to be able to use it. And it was like, yep, cool. Just rebuilt all of the functionality that people were charging $3 a month for, with thousands of reviews and thousands of users, and just rebuilt it in about 15 minutes. And then I quickly put it through Xcode, built it, stuck it on test flight, and had it working within an hour. Could I now extend that, polish it up, and release it on the App Store? Yeah, I probably will, and I probably will this month. This week. So that's what you're going to do. You find these opportunities using a tool like Sensor Tower, or you probably have a few on your telephone that you know of already. Then you will build a version of it using Claude Code and get it published onto the App Store in order to blow away a lot of the crap that is on there. Obviously, there will be a lot of competition because anyone can do this. So it's really going to be about finding that particular niche, and you're still going to have to do the marketing afterwards. You're still going to need to work out how to get it distribution, but the opportunity right now is to be able to build anything and rebuild anything. It's actually getting even easier because here we go. Manus, this is not sponsored, but I do love Manus. Manus have launched app publishing on Manus. So you build your apps inside of Manus. I love this step by step. Build your app in Manus, click publish, test on your phone via Google Play or test flight. No Xcode. Oh wow, okay. No Android Studio, no wrestling with certificates, and then they've created a walkthrough of it here. So it's becoming very, very, very easy to build applications. So if you can find a niche in the market and you know how to market it as well, the actual putting together the application no longer costs you tens of thousands of dollars. You can just spin it up and go. So you can use Manus, you can use Claude Code. Replit also have a, let me pull it up, publish to App Store. Okay, they haven't managed to rank it, but you can do it using Replit as well. You can send to the App Store. So do it. There's a lot of opportunity here right now. I will put this full guide into the newsletter tomorrow, and this is also something I'm going to start doing myself. Maybe I'll do some live streams on it so you can see me building, and it won't just be things that I'm personally annoyed with, but I will find business opportunities as well. So maybe we could build together. Cool. As always, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. It is available at aiwithkyle.com. There is a free challenge that you can join if you fancy it. 5-day challenge helping you get AI ready. My goal is to get 1 million people AI ready. We are about 250,000, so we're doing all right, but we need to 4x that. So come and join on AI with Kyle. Also on YouTube, I am Kyle Balmer. Over here, we're at, what are we at now? 13,500 subscribers. So thank you if you are subscribed there. If you're not, all of the videos that you're watching right now, if you're on the live stream, will be edited, tidied up, segmented into the specific news items, so it's easier to find as well. And it all goes in the newsletter. So here, for example, difficulty. Here's yesterday's newsletter, which actually links to a guide and a free training, because I have a lot of free trainings and courses over on my website. So make sure you check out AI with Kyle if you want to get access to all of that as well. Cool. I'm going to hop over to some questions, but otherwise finish up shortly. Do the same with websites. Yeah, 100%. I love that as a business idea. Distribution to customers is the biggest obstacle I'm running into. Yeah, so this is great. Greg's idea of duplicate an app. You can also duplicate websites. You can duplicate web apps. We can just give it to Claude Code now and it will go off and do it. It's not a problem anymore. It's really easy, too easy. You still need to be able to market. So that becomes the next barrier. But previously what we had was building was a huge barrier. And then people ran into the secondary barrier of, okay, I built it, now what? Now at least we can get to that very quickly. We can get to the marketing part and start worrying about that immediately, because we no longer spend 6 months and $100,000 building the application only to find out that there's no market for it, only to find out that we have no idea how to sell it. At least we can build our prototype now in a day start getting out to market. So the problem of marketing, or the challenge of marketing, is more immediate, but still needs to be solved. Super, super, super important. I actually built something called, it's here, that AI business course, Go From Curious to Confident. It's a 10-week program, all free. It's on the website. So starting with working out what your niche is, building it in public, AI business ideas, vibe coding, so building, and then marketing. But it allows us to very quickly go from building to marketing, because that is now the differentiator. Dave says, I pay for an app $30 a month for one single feature, probably 2% of the app. Must try to make it. Yeah. So literally get the take screenshots of the app. It's very cheeky. Go into the app, take some screenshots, and then go to Claude Code or Manus. Check out the new Manus one that they've built. Give it the screenshots and say, hey, this is kind of what it works, how it works. You could also sketch it out on a bit of paper. Give it to your AI and say, this is what I want to rebuild, and it will be able to do so. It is kind of that simple. Also, if that app has like a sales page or a feature list or something, give that to the AI as well, so it has a bit more context. But really, that's kind of all you need to do, and it will help you work out the best way to do that. Do tell it beforehand. Say, I want to rebuild this for iPhone, or I want to rebuild this as a web app, or for Android or whatever, and then it will know what languages and what libraries to use, because it knows what that end goal is. But apart from that, you literally just give it screenshots and describe the functionality. That's kind of it. So it's becoming very easy. So if you are an app maker, I'd be very worried. But for people who are more entrepreneurial, or for people who want to build stuff for themselves, internal use inside their business, it's really exciting. It's a really exciting time. Kyle, do you have another account? Launch Lemonade. No, it's not my account, but I'm partnering with them. So they are posting my videos and I'm talking about their product as well. So Launch Lemonade is a tool to help you make agents and assistants and workflows using artificial intelligence very, very quickly. And I've partnered with them and I'm doing some content with them. So that's why you've probably seen me pop up on their feed as well. And it's run by my good friend Shen Solon, who's also here in London. Ooh, she's got a lovely new website. Oh, look at this. What a great new website. So Shen built Launch Lemonade. She just raised, and congratulations, she just raised about $500,000, a seed round, and she's using that to grow Launch Lemonade. So I'm helping support that mission. Dave says, thanks. Okay, I'm going to do it. I will report back. Good. Claude Code is the best if you are comfortable using it, if you have access to it. Otherwise, check out this Manus thing. I haven't yet tried it, but you can try app publishing on Manus. I'm going to give this a whirl later and see how it goes. But I'd be interested to see how it goes for you. But yeah, as you're saying, paying $30 a month for one single feature, if you can recreate it in an hour and you're only using that one thing, then you've just saved yourself a couple of $100s a month, and potentially there are going to be other people who are in exactly the same boat as you, and you can just release the stripped down version for a lower cost, or don't charge people a subscription. People hate subscriptions. If you can say, hey, it's it's $10 one-off, do you want that instead of a $30 a month subscription? I think you'd probably have some takers there. Good luck with that. Cool. Thank you guys. I'm going to finish up and I will see you tomorrow again. Cheers.